Hi guys. I know I'm looking a bit tired and sleepy, but that's because for the last 2 weeks I've been watching Lock Up for you. Okay, all of us have been doing it for you, and now you're going to see the results of it. Now, let's start the stream, and to begin with, I would just like to have Pooja introduce Lock Up to you all.
If that was enough, then
Thank
that's the show.
All right, so guys, you all know your favorite reviewers. We have
By the way,
Pooja.
it's 2 clicks and 2 claps. It's like
चल very good संकल्प संकल्प
Like वो टाइम जरा थम सा जाता है वो देखते देखते तो समझ में नहीं आता concept.
okay.
Okay, let me just introduce our reviewers, and we have people watching, guys. Okay, so we've got Pooja. Hi, Pooja.
Hi. Thank you
Yes,
for having me.
Pooja's our lawyer come comedian, and then we have Abbas Momin. Say hi, Abbas.
Hello.
Yes, Abbas. Look at the voice. Yeah, he's a podcaster come comedian. And then we've got Sankalp Rastogi.
Hello.
Yes, Sankalp Rastogi is our reality show writer come comedian. All right, so now
Reality shows are written? What?
you want to comment on that?
क्या
Anchor link is written basically.
Oh, okay.
Where he introduces the contestant and he talks about him in a flowery manner. Yeah, that is written.
Yeah. Sankalp doesn't want to say it, but everything's written. If you think it's reality, you're wrong.
Wait, you
All
mean
right.
to say National Award winner Kangana Ranaut isn't coming up with all of that off the top of her head? Oh, damn it.
Oh, damn.
The guy who's written this show, I worked with him. I'm forgetting his name. His name is Arpit.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
His name is Arpit.
Just-
Okay. Who's written Lock Up?
Sorry?
This guy Arpit has written Lock Up.
Yes.
All right. So, guys, we watched Lock Up. I don't know how many people who are watching this stream have watched Lock Up. Please let us know if you have. Let's begin with Sankalp. Would you like to give us a rough idea of what the show is?
Okay, so it's basically Big Boss with Kangana Ranaut. Produced by Ekta Kapoor, of course. And I mean, it has the same elements. It has a host, and he introduces the show in a very grand manner. Calls each and every contestant. एक करके आते हैं, अपने बारे में बताते हैं. They are all people whom you really don't know anything about, but they are stars in their own rights in some department.
We
or the
know
other.
one of them, Sankalp. Let's be clear here. We know one of the
Oh,
contestants.
yes. I am so sorry. I am so sorry. We know one of the guy very very well. Like,
Too
हमारा
well,
बहुत ही
yes,
अजीज
okay.
दोस्त है, बहुत अजीज दोस्त है हमारा. So yeah, he's there in the show.
Okay.
But enough about Tehsin Poonawala.
Okay. Now we have questions already coming in. How to watch today's episode? Hemant,
Just
yeah.
download MX Player.
Do you know
We
how
are
to
not
download
paying
MX Player?
enough to tell you where to watch this.
It's
Yes.
free, yeah.
Just
On
saying.
Alt Balaji and MX Player, just go there and watch it, and then just keep Dolo 650 with you. Okay. Our Tam is like, hello everyone. All right. Shrirupa, we know Shrirupa. She hasn't watched it, but she's like, thank you for taking one for the team.
One more for the team. Okay.
Okay, now we have Lockup. Of course, there's a lot of controversy surrounding Lockup, which we're going to come to. Okay, involving the person that we know in Lockup more importantly. But basically, it's Kangana Ranaut, who actually, after seeing the episodes, you don't see much of her. Okay,
Yeah.
now, so now she's taken these 16 people and she's thrown them into this jail. It's of course a very posh jail. It's like the big boss house with bars, thoda sa, wo full carpeting AC hai.
Yeah.
Now, when the show began, I'm going to make a very, very sad confession here. It was not episode based, okay? It was meant to be a 24/7 live stream. So for the first night, I watched Munawar sleeping. At 5 in the morning, I was just like, why am I doing But I just could not get myself to turn it off. Okay. And they literally, they kept them awake till about 2 o'clock doing some shit. And then from 2 o'clock to I think 10 o'clock in the morning, they're allowed to sleep. And the
Okay.
stream was literally them sleeping. Shots of them sleeping. Munawar left profile, Munawar right profile.
Of course, nothing should be missed. हमें पता होना चाहिए.
Yes. But then I think people are missing out on the real task because there was no episodes to see, right? So you had to either log on to the stream and just stay logged on. And I guess people are not doing that. So now, yes, Artan, this is a very important question. I don't know. Okay, now we're going to come to the contestants. Pooja, do you want to start telling us about your views of the show?
पूजा अभी नहीं हंसना है.
Okay, so here's my preliminary view. Okay, कहाँ से उठा के लाए लोगों को?
Yeah. Totally.
मतलब
Comedy.
एक मुनावर तो ठीक है, I get it. But then there's just people you've not heard of either ever or in ages, or people you never thought would come for something like this. Like the Gaumutra party wala Baba.
Swami
You know-
Chakrapani.
Swami Chakrapani. Yeah, I'll tell you, Swami Chakrapani and Munawar are the only two people whom I think they've racked their brains about. कि किसको लाना चाहिए, and they've given them a thought and sort of circled them. Rest of
Right.
them are just random wild cards. Like, अच्छा ठीक है, ये उठा लेते हैं, वो उठा लेते हैं, and just there is absolutely no intrigue factor to them. But these two, I feel they have actually, thought they are well thought of selections.
So who among them do you find very famous? Bolo, Pooja.
And my biggest question for the participants is only one. Like Sankalp said, this show is Big Boss with Kangana. Sara Khan was on Big Boss. वो अपनी
Yes.
जिंदगी के साथ क्यों इतना मजाक कर रही है कि फिर से आ गई ऐसे शो पे?
Same show में.
Why? Like, does she hate herself? I don't know. I'm feeling bad for her. Why would you do that again?
I think even Karanveer Bora has been on Big Boss. I think.
I also think so. And what about Payal? Payal has been somewhere.
Payal's been on
Payal
Big Boss,
has
yeah.
been Big Boss.
Payal
has been on Big
Rohatgi had an affair with Pramod Mahajan's son, Rahul Mahajan, on the show.
Oh yeah.
I don't
On
know.
What
Big
about
Boss.
this?
Not on Lockup.
No, because in Lockup, Payal was.
Rahul Mahajan
One
के
second.
लिए-
Wait. I don't know.
Okay.
On Lockup, Payal was crying in one of the episodes that I want to get married. She's been dating this guy for 12 years. This wrestler, I think Sangram Singh or.
Sangram Singh. Yeah, I know.
Mhm.
She's dating him. Okay, great. Wow. Very good.
So when did she have this affair with Rahul Mahajan on Lockup?
No, so that was, I guess, season 2 or season 3. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But they were both inside the house, and apparently they had some history before coming into the house as well. And the sparks were reignited in the show. And there was a lot of controversy surrounding that. So there were, and even after they came out of the house, there were rumors, and this is all on the heels of, again, this is all in public domain. I'm not making anything or this thing. This was on the heels of Pramod Mahajan getting accused of some domestic abuse in the relationship that he was with. So
He was married at that time to that girl, Dimpy.
Yeah.
I think he was separated or he was about to be divorced or something like that. But Payal Rohatgi was apparently one big reason for that for the separation.
But I think he's been accused of domestic abuse in each of his marriages.
In every relationship.
At the end of this, I will tell you when I met Rahul Mahajan in person. It's very exciting.
Whoa.
Nice. Please remind Kajol if she forgets.
मैं नहीं भूलता ये सब, मैं याद दिला दूंगा.
Okay, let's talk about the other contestants. My favorite so far, besides Munawar, is Poonam Pandey. Okay, there's just something about Poonam Pandey I like. Even in her cheesiness,
Totally.
she's very authentic. Okay, there's just something likable about her.
Absolutely.
And she comes for comedy shows, by the way, guys. She comes for stand-up comedy shows as audience, so we have
Which
to be
one?
thankful to her. She's come to
Uh,
J Spot Bandra.
she
Nice, yeah.
knows a
Yes.
comedian very well. Shall we just go ahead and say who she knows, or are we
Yeah,
not
Yeah,
why
ready?
yeah.
not? I mean, I'm sure he has plastered it everywhere, so we
Right.
can just go
Okay.
ahead and say it.
So
Yeah.
she knows
Oh,
Nitin Virani really well. So
oh,
Nitin
okay.
invites celebs for his shows, you know. So there's always like this lineup sitting in the front row. Anyway,
Hmm.
enough about Nitin Virani. Let's talk about Poonam Pandey and what are your views on Poonam Pandey? You were saying something.
I love Poonam Pandey. Like the opening episode when she came and she was asked, I think she was talking about her life decisions and how if she's given a chance, she would definitely erase her whole career. Like how she started off at 18 and how she made those controversial statements about, stripping for the World Cup and stripping for the Indian team and stripping for this and that. And she very candidly admitted that, I didn't want to do any of those, but I wanted
Hmm.
fame, I wanted movies, I wanted acting jobs, and people suggested that I should pass such
Yeah, yeah,
statements
yeah.
to furore, and that will fetch me work, but it didn't. And she admitted it very, very honestly, which was very nice about her. I think वो बहुत authentic लगती है, as Kajol said, बहुत authentic लगती है.
So
So I have a lot of opinions about the pilot episode, which is the only episode I
go
saw
ahead.
from start to
हाँ.
finish. So
एक मैं बोलना चाहूंगा before
हाँ.
before you start. I think we sound like the media panel in the first episode.
Satish, please Google Poonam Pandey.
Yeah,
It's
Satish, as
not.
if you don't know who Poonam Pandey is. Yeah, right.
Satish.
Go on, Abbas.
Yeah.
Let's hear from you.
Yeah, so for those of you who haven't seen the first episode of such shows is essentially the host introducing you to who the contestants are, and they do a little dance number, and they come, and the host rags them a little bit, and then they're sent off into the house. Okay, which is what happens in all Big Boss seasons, and exactly what happens here. But as Sankalp mentioned, there is one little change. There are these real characters on the sofa, which is on the set, and they have kept the Hall of Shame of journalists on that, like Bhupendra Chaube. And I was really disappointed that Anjana Om Kashyap was not there.
Hindi को media में बोलती है. How is Sid के journalist?
Exactly. Siddharth Kannan, who is a gossip, Zoom पे जो gossip वाला show करता है वो है. Then there is, out of all that, if you see, there is Rekha Khan, who's the sub editor of Navbharat Times. She's actually taking this very seriously. Okay, she's asking very pointed questions. Like nobody gave her the brief कि बाबा ये serious questions नहीं पूछ रहा है. Yeah. Okay. So of course, the first episode, by the way, is 2 hours 40 minutes. Okay, which is
I was praying कि कब खत्म होगा.
मतलब two Avengers movies put together is not this long as long as this episode. And so here is my take. Okay, here is my surprising take. The first contestant that she introduces is Munawar, and
Yeah.
then after that they introduce a trans woman
Saisha.
whose name I'm forgetting,
Saisha.
Saisha, and then they call Poonam Pandey later on. And the format goes as in Kangana Ranaut will introduce them, they'll come, then Kangana will do a Q&A, then the journalist will do Q&A, then there'll be even for 6 hours they are doing this Q&A, ye wo, theek hai?
हाँ.
So for Munawar segment, she called Sunil Pal. Okay, she's like, अब मैं एक असली comedian को बुलाती हूँ जो हमें आपके सारे परिवार को हंसा सकते हैं ये वो. And then for the next half an hour, it is proper grilling of Munawar. Okay,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
they are actually accusing fingers at comedians like us. Okay, कि आप जैसे comedian जो है जो गाली यूज करते हैं और जिनके शो देख लोग दारू पी के देखते हैं
करके बात करते हैं.
Sensational.
Yeah. So here is my hot take. That section of Munawar getting grilled, of them grilling the trans woman, them grilling them grilling Poonam Pandey, all of these three people hold their own very well, I feel. And I am actually quite surprised that the editing team decided to keep in their replies to these people. Like at one point, Munawar says कि someone asks Munawar कि क्या आपको लगता है कि you can change society with your comedy, and Munawar says नहीं मुझे नहीं लगता कलाकार कुछ बदल सकता है. And then Kangana is like, hello, I'm a national award winner. How dare you say we cannot change the
कला का
society?
क्रांति नहीं ला
हाँ, हाँ.
सकता.
And then Munawar says कि मैडम आपके लिए शायद क्रांति लाना कुछ और होगा. Right now it's very easy to cut that line and make Kangana as the
Yeah,
hero
yeah,
of the
yeah,
moment, but
yeah.
they didn't decide to do that. So I mean, I don't
But
know whoever
do you think this could also be scripted? Like, to show that Munawar is, because
not
I've
all
just
of it.
one
Absolutely, it
second,
is
because
scripted. It is
one
scripted.
second.
Yeah,
I've just seen the latest video where Kangana's gushing over him. Okay, she's like, you are just playing the brilliant game, and you're going to win this, or koi
yeah.
aapse chakkar nahi, whatever.
Ye
But
sak-
So which is where my next point comes. Of course, now we are moving in. I wanted to discuss the show as purely as trash entertainment, and then what ramifications it can have in in the media or social context. Okay, don't you think then in a situation like this, when your Hindutva poster girl is gushing over this Muslim comedian who was sent to jail, isn't that then portraying Munawar in a good light and bringing new audience to him?
well, the thing is that, okay, so let's start with the controversy that the show
Sorry for
created.
making this the NDTV buck stops here, but
It is nice.
No, we have to discuss all of these issues.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So now the day Munavar's promo came out that he was going on to
Huh,
lock up, Twitter
huh.
went crazy. Okay,
Right,
all the liberals got together and said like, "What is this? We supported you. Now look what you're doing."
right,
Because let's be
right,
honest, it's a capitalist venture. He has gone into a show where he's getting paid reportedly, I think 3.5 lakhs a week, which is what the PR has reported. Might be lower. I
according
don't
to
know.
sources, guys.
Yes,
Asterisk.
No,
according to
it's on
sources.
it's on
We don't take our
Google.
sources.
He's
Huh,
getting paid.
huh.
He's one of the highest paid contestants on the show, apart from Anjana Arora, who has 10 million followers on YouTube, on
Oh
Insta,
yeah, the TikToker, huh?
the
Okay.
the Instagram,
Who I
the
had never
Reeler,
heard of. The
who
real.
nobody has heard of except for 10 million
Millions.
followers.
Is it
10
because
million.
of that or it's confirmed?
हाँ,
That
कंगना
is
भी like आपको लोग मुझसे ज्यादा फॉलो करते हैं. Like she was crestfallen in that moment.
okay. Now the controversy was that people were like, see, Kangana actually made statements on Twitter saying that I want 2002 ka Modi ji back.
Right,
Okay,
right.
that
हाँ,
I
हाँ,
want the Godra Kand ka Modi ji
हाँ,
back. And
हाँ.
Munawar lost family in the Godra Kand. He had to run
Right,
from Godra.
Yeah,
So then
right.
yeah.
people are like, how are you all on the same show? Okay.
Hmm.
So that was the first controversy that got created. And in
Hmm.
all of that furor, people managed to slide over the fact that Tehseen Poonawala was also on the show because
Hmm.
that never got brought up on Twitter at all.
Right.
Now, we have some statements here from Sunita, which I think, okay, so Sunita is like, he is targeted, everyone knows why. I feel really bad for Munawar.
But why would you feel bad for him? He's
But
getting
why?
3.5 lakhs per week.
Good money through this show. Why would you feel bad?
And I think this really I mean I don't think once he comes out of this show his shows will be cancelled, because now people want to see him more. People who
Now
have
people
not
want
seen his comedy, we have seen him
exactly.
through this show.
There is no
Yeah,
reason
because
for it to get cancelled now.
no, so the liberals all cancelled him that day on Twitter. And then now his Insta following went to 1.1 million and his YouTube
Right,
touched 2 million. So
right.
big deal.
Yeah.
Big deal, all of that cancellation. Okay. Um,
So
but
and one more thing. Yeah, go ahead, Kajol.
no, go on.
No, so what Sankalp was saying, that the Swami and Munawar are the only two sort of. So when they were introducing people, you guys said it is Big Boss meets Kangana Ranaut. Yes, it's also Big Boss meets Aapki Adalat featuring Kangana Ranaut, because when they are introduced, like आपके ऊपर आरोप लगा है कि आप ये whatever. And honestly, Munawar and the Gaumutra Shots Swami, that's what I'm going to
Yeah.
call him. I don't know
Yeah.
whatever his name is. They were the only true proper controversial figures on that show. Okay,
Payal
Payal
is
Rohatgi,
controversial.
Sara Khan, they are. But here's my thing: Payal Rohatgi, Sara Khan, Karanveer, whatever his name is, all of them have been on reality shows before. So this
Yeah.
literally the Balaji makers were like, हाँ, we'll keep one or two real controversial people,
ये तो
and
हमारे घर के
then
ही कहाँ
ये
जाएंगे?
तो हमारे घर के हैं, इनको बस पकड़ के डाल दो. It's there's no like they will never say no. It's just finding the right
मेरे ख्याल से उनसे
price
तो
for
पैसे की
them.
बात भी घर के अंदर आने के बाद की है।
Yeah.
बात करते हैं पैसों की।
So yeah, that was what I was a little disappointed. Ki yaar, Payal Rohatgi we've seen. She's not the headline controversy maker right
No,
now.
but
Sara Khan,
wait. You've
yeah,
forgotten that Payal Rohatgi used to tweet a lot on Twitter. Terrible
Yeah, she's
Islamophobic
that
stuff.
hardcore
Yeah.
right wing troll. Like she's a right
but
wing
now
troll.
even she's passe. Even the right wing does not push her forward
No.
as
So
the.
apparently, she and Tehsin
Huh,
Poonawalla had
huh.
words on Twitter about all of this, and then they
Okay.
had to justify being on the same show together, right?
Yeah,
Even though no
yeah.
one else remembers, they had to justify it. So they were
Okay.
like, yeah, we had a talk outside the show hall and all that. We're okay with each other now.
Okay.
Guys, what do you have to say about that little thing where introduce करने के बाद they make them sit in the van and they made them ask the guards question कि आप कौन हो, आपका नाम क्या है? Do you not remember this? Where they put them in a van and they take a round around Film City to show that they're taking you in a jungle.
Super cringe. But you know what I
And
like
the guards have been copied straight from Squid
From
Game.
Squid
I just
Game.
had to
Yes.
put it up.
Yes.
उसमें लाल था इसमें अलग कॉस्ट्यूम है.
हाँ, इसमें काला कर दिया.
हाँ. But I'll tell you,
What do you say?
from the entry episode, like the first episode, मुझे सबसे अच्छा लगा पायल रोहतगी का entrance because she actually challenged Kangana and she actually hit her where it should have hit. Like जैसे
Why,
उससे
what did
पूछा
she say?
कि you are. So basically, the allegation on Payal Rohatgi was that she's a parasite and she lives off of other people's controversies.
Right. हाँ,
And
हाँ.
she pointed out very bluntly there and then that Kangana, you do the same. That you do the same. That you talk about people's wars and you create this news and sort of gain leverage out of it. And Kangana, even though she was arguing, Payal Rohatgi, she stuck to her stand. Like whatever it is, it might piss you off, but I'll stick to my guns. So that's
I'm
what
gonna
I
just say that I think that entire interaction was scripted. Okay, I'm sorry, I'm cynical, but that's
probably. But I think it's well presented. I would say
okay. Now
definitely
let's just come to
it's
Pooja.
scripted for
Let's
heavy.
just come. Pooja, you
Yeah.
get too intimidated by the boys. Just can you shout and speak up? Okay, just like So come, Pooja, okay,
नहीं,
give
अब
us
देखो,
more of your views.
Okay, I'll tell you. I have seen 3 episodes in total. Okay.
Okay.
Whoa.
Each episode I started with wait. Each episode I started with a lot of enthusiasm. I was like, review के लिए मैं notes लेगी. And then magic happened every time, and I fell asleep.
Of course.
And then I suddenly wake up to someone either screaming or the guards banging the metal frame. Something like that. I'll wake up and I'll be like, अब मैं rewind करूँ भी तो कितना करूँ? जाने दो.
I know.
So ऐसे मेरे 3 episode निकल गए.
ऐसे मैंने Game of Thrones देखा था.
Hey, Game of Thrones. Sankalp, what are you doing? Are you comparing Game of Thrones to Lock Up?
नहीं, the same. My format of watching the show was the same because मैं देखता था, सोता था, then rewind करता था, फिर देखता था, सोता था, and that's how I finished the first season in 1 year.
Abbas is gonna kill you now. Okay. Let's come to the other contestants. Do you have any other favorites among the other contestants?
Poonam Pandey.
I'm talking to Pooja.
I think from whatever limited probably REM sleep, I was also listening to something and that has an influence. I don't know. But I think Babita Bhogat, I really like her.
Have you seen her tweet?
I mean, I don't care about that. Just the show.
Okay.
I mean, just it's like watching Dangal on Big Boss meets Aapki Adalat featuring Kangana. Right.
हाँ मतलब एक एक्चुअली ऐसा पार्टिसिपेंट है उस पूरे शो में जो एक्चुअली मेहनत करके कुछ किया उसने.
लाइफ में अचीव करके आई है बंदी.
Do her tweets call for genocide, Kajol?
Yes, they do.
Oh, then she qualifies. If she hadn't called for genocide, then I'd be surprised. I'm like, what?
Okay, now they have this little news screen on the show because they have no access to news and all otherwise, but they're shown stuff which they should react to. And when I put it on yesterday, that news screen came up and said, guys, Vivek Agnihotri has made this movie Kashmir Files, which is now tax-free for everyone. And Payal was like, I say, hona hi chahiye. Then there was like big PR going on for Kashmir Files. So this is, the whole environment is very, very right-wing.
No, absolutely, yeah. I mean, when for all you know, I can definitely tell you this would have been a paid campaign. Oh, it's like a paid. tie up. It's like a paid tie up कि आप हम अपने शो में हमारी फिल्म की बात करेंगे, हम आपको इतना पैसा देंगे. It's a simple paid tie up. वो ऐसा ही
And
है.
also, Kangana is now dying to work with Vivek Agnihotri. So
Oh,
she
she
will
should.
do it.
She should.
Yeah.
She should. I'd really like to see what these two create and what Vivek Agnihotri does.
Manikarnika files.
हाँ, मैं देखना चाहूंगा विवेक अग्निहोत्री कंगना से क्या एक्टिंग कराता है और कंगना उसके साथ क्या फिल्म में करती है. पायल screwed Babita's game already. Okay, any
See,
comments on
we
that?
have people who follow the show. Zehरीली
Exactly.
औरतें. I think that will be the title of Vivek Agnihotri.
अब होगी. With stars करना रहा हूँ. Zehरीली औरतें.
Oh, but okay. Does anyone remember any other contestants? Because it shouldn't be that we're only.
No, I want to mention these two guys. I don't know who they are. I like to call them Changu Mangu. It's when Kangana is doing something, this one Aram Nagar struggler walks in, and then Kangana is like. By the way, I have to say, Shirupa just said, Abbas, you'll never get 2 hours 40 minutes of your life back. I did not see the whole thing at one go. मैं forward करके देख रहा था. तो एकदम से ये एक बंदा आ जाता है एंड दे लाइक कंगना जी मैं आपका बहुत बड़ा फैन हूँ, मैंने आपको फॉलो किया है, ये वो, एंड कंगना इज टेकिंग हिज केस. And then another Aram Nagar struggler walks in, and he's apparently some model, and then they are in the house somehow. I'm like, who? And then they get into a fight also in the first episode with
Yes.
Karanveer. I'm like, what the fuck is happening? So those Changu
हाँ,
Mangu
हाथापाई हो गई थी.
are my favorite.
Okay,
हाँ,
Changu
हाथापाई हो
Mangu,
गई थी.
one of them is called Shivam. I think he's a Splitsvilla contestant.
Of course, lovely.
मुझे अभी पता चला करणवीर, मुझे इस शो से पता चला कि करणवीर बोहरा का फुल टाइम काम ही रियलिटी शोज में काम करना है. तो जब वो शो पे आया उसको ये कौन सा रियलिटी शो है, ये आपका 11वां रियलिटी शो है, तो करणवीर बोलता है, ओ थैंक्स मैम, थैंक्स फॉर रिमाइंडिंग मी, यस मेरा 11th शो है.
But I loved it when he was giving it back to Bhupendra Chaube. मतलब वो उसने एक देख के, dude, he I mean, not that this is any big like revelation or anything, but Karanveer Chauhan is like, Karanveer Chauhan, is that what his name is? Singh Chauhan? Bohra, sorry. Mixing up. हाँ, he's like, अगर आपका बेटा स्कूल में किसी रेस में हार जाएगा तो क्या आप बोलोगे वो लूजर है? नहीं, आप उसको फिर से रेस में दौड़ाओगे, और अगर वो फिर हार जाएगा तो आप उसको दूसरे इवेंट में लड़ाओगे. एंड भूपेंद्र चौबे is trying to come in and then this guy is giving a speech as if he's in the climax of some big movie. Okay, like he thinks this is his moment and he seized it.
बट मुझे सबसे अच्छा ओपनिंग शो में आई थिंक क्रिटिक्स में से सिड के ही लगा. एक तो उसकी स्माइल इतनी क्रीपी है ना, हाउ ही लुक्स एट पीपल, एंड उसके बाद सबसे ज्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट, और यू नो वो ऐसे सवाल पूछता है जैसे कि आज ही मैं दुनिया बदलूंगा. मैंने कहा अरे भाई आराम से, कोई सीरियस नहीं हो रहा, आपकी अदालत नहीं है. बट नहीं, वो बहुत सीरियसली लेता है अपने काम में.
Okay. Then we got Saisha Shinde, who was Swapnil Shinde. She's a designer who is now transitioning to a woman. So that's there. Then we mentioned Anjali. Who have we missed out?
Poonam Pandey. The major ones are Poonam Pandey, Payal Rohagi, Munawar, of course.
Sara Ali Khan.
Sara Ali Khan. Yeah.
Nisha Rawat.
Nisha Rawal.
Nisha Rawal.
Nisha Rawal.
Who's that?
She's an actress.
And there's this TV actress who recently got divorced because of a huge controversy because her husband used to beat her and she went to the police station with a mark on her.
Was it Rahul Maharaj?
I swear, Abbas.
Sorry.
राहुल महाजन बहुत disappointed होगा. इसने क्यों मारा? मुझे बुला लेता, मैं मार देता.
Okay.
So I'm a little confused. I'm a little confused about the format. So, like, does the audience vote in? Does everyone get one person get eliminated every
Same
week?
as
What
before.
happens? Okay.
So every week there are nominations, and then one person is kicked out. So far we've had 2 people go out. I think this week will be the 3rd elimination. Now, Costa Banerjee wants to know, if given the kind of money the contestants are getting, would you guys be part of the show? Yes, guys.
Very, very interesting question. Current earnings तो उतनी है नहीं मेरी, so yeah.
What about you, Abbas?
I don't think so, man. So I know someone who I used to work with, Kajol. You also know this person who was offered Big Boss, and they gave a they flat out said, "Give me 2 crores and get me out of the house for 3 weeks." And
Hmm.
the makers were like, "No, ऐसा नहीं होता है." Like they have some internal system where it's not completely dependent on voting, but they can't promise when you will be out. So if something like that can be worked out, where I'm like, flat, give me not don't give me 2 crores, give me 50 lakhs and get me out of the house in 2 weeks. Then I'll
No,
do
but
it.
those deals, the person who we are both talking about has
Yeah,
lied to
yeah.
you because those deals
Okay.
exist.
Okay.
See that person also went on another reality show called Hase To Fase.
Oh, now
Okay.
you've given it away, Kajol.
Sorry, yaar.
कौन है ये?
It's very
कौन है ये?
difficult track. Traffic.
Must have been
But
a stand-up
my
comic.
point is, in Hase To Fase, which is also on Netflix, uh,
No, no, it's
they
on
are
Prime.
on Prime.
Prime, Prime, yeah.
Ha, ha.
All of these people are in the house, and the first person who laughs gets out. Okay, if you
Hmm.
laugh, you get out, and everyone should make you laugh. So now each contestant had a performance to give everybody. All right. Now
Mm,
you tell
mm.
me, if you're not sure when you're going to get out of the show, how do they schedule your performance? Because it's in chronological order. Huh? So the person who performed first got out first. You get my point?
Okay.
Huh. So
Okay.
there are deals.
Mm. I just like to mention I was in the trial round for Hasi to Fasi, for which I got paid
Same.
5,000 rupees per day. Ah, Sankalp, you were also there.
I went for the mock show. You were there, हाँ. हम साथ में उस दिन थे तो सही.
हाँ हाँ
Ajay,
फिर
Pooja,
बीच
I
में
will tell
कोविड
you.
आ गया तो प्राइस गिरा दिया उन लोगों ने, बोला भाग मैं नहीं करेगा.
So what happens, Pooja, is that when they have a reality show which is of a big nature with celebs, then they want to do a trial run first, and for that, Sankalp, Rastogi, Abbas, Momin are
With
all called
non-celebs.
with no celebs. So they will have to do the same thing in the show. It's just as a trial. And
Yeah.
who wore the dress? I think Shahan wore the dress and danced. They have to
No, Shahan
humiliate
wasn't
themselves.
there. There
Chinmay
was
Matre was there. I think Chinmay
No,
Matre
no,
won.
uh,
The
no, no,
Chinmay
no.
Matre won the
mm,
mock shoot.
Shahan,
I think
Shahan
he
and
did. Yeah,
Govind
yeah,
won the
yeah.
next round. There were two
No, no,
rounds.
that was they went for the round which happened during COVID, because they are such cheapskates where they're like, we don't mind if we get COVID as long as you're giving us 5,000 rupees.
And
Shit,
come back
man,
to the
5,000 के लिए COVID. I
So
Pooja,
think
y'all
you were
were the
given
Chantu Bantu for a bit.
exactly,
I'll tell you what we
exactly.
were. So they
Abbas,
made the
Abbas, it
set,
comes back to you. It comes back to you. तू सबको चंटू
and
बंटू
then
बोल रहा था, मैंने हमको चंटू बंटू बोल दिया.
सुनना. So Pooja, the thing is, they हाँ हम उसके चंगू, उस शो के चंगू मंगू थे.
Changu
So
Mangu.
we they'll be like, go stand in the kitchen. Okay, so we are essentially, they've made the set, but let's say while making the microwave, if there is something poking which stabs my neck, now they can't have who was on, they can't have Kusha Kapila's neck getting stabbed. So if they have me and Sankalp, they're like, oh yeah, now we need to fix that, so we are the stand-ins for
Yeah, totally.
so that Kusha Kapila doesn't get stabbed.
Wow.
Even as a mock shoot, I think वो mock shoot बहुत boring था, बहुत बकवास था.
एक्चुअली उनका वो क्या उस गेम का जो फॉर्मेट था वो जब तक सेट ही नहीं था, दे टुक
हाँ,
अस एज लैब रैट्स एंड देन दे मेड अ फॉर्मेट आउट
ये मेरे format, yeah.
ऑफ
But
या.
come back to my question, Pooja, if you were paid 3.5 lakhs a week, or even let's say 1.5 lakhs per week, would you go into to Lockup? Pooja?
Why?
पूरा solution बोला ऐसा सवाल
हमारे
create ही हो गया.
ये शो
हाँ,
ये शो हमारी संस्कृति के खिलाफ है और मैं बताती हूँ क्यों. यहाँ पे लोग ऑरेंज एंड ब्लू स्क्रब्स पहनते हैं. किसी ने इंडियन जेल का यूनिफॉर्म देखा है? दिस इज अनरियलिस्टिक
हमारी जेल
एक्सपेक्टेशंस.
like white and black है हमारी. Like be
White
desi.
and black वो भी only when you're convicted. If you're under trial, you can wear your home clothes.
Oh, I didn't know this.
Okay, so this
Pooja's a
entire
lawyer.
show. So yeah, so then just because the uniform, I don't like the uniform. If you want to make me feel like I'm jailed up, give me white and black clothes with the
चलो,
topi.
out of curiosity, अगर कोई अंडर ट्रायल होता है तो उसको घर से भी सामान लाने की सुविधा मिलती है क्या?
वो अपना
क्या
एक
प्लान
पोटली
कर रहा
लेके
है
आते हैं.
संकल्प?
वो
sorry?
they have their belongings. They have their belongings.
Okay.
Some of it is obviously taken, like they don't have their personal effects, but they'll have some 2-3 pairs of clothes. And
अच्छा.
then बाकी तो माया है. जो
हाँ वो भी है.
बनाते हैं. Okay.
Okay. Now
So,
let's
yeah.
come to a very important part of the show, the romances. All right.
Wait.
What?
1 second. Sorry, Kajol. Will you get on the show if you are paid that much?
Okay, I
Yeah.
don't think they
3.5
want
lakhs.
English.
3.5 lakhs for 1
English.
week.
I'll have to learn Hindi. I can't do it. I
No,
can't
but
do
is
it.
there any rule that you have to only speak in Hindi?
I think everyone's speaking in Hindi. I wouldn't be eligible from any angle. Yeah.
But
Which
what if that
reminds
is the
me.
USP? What if
If
that
you
is the
were.
USP? Yeah. Like हम एक ऐसी कॉमिक ला रहे हैं जो सिर्फ इंग्लिश में बात करेगी. This is the USP.
I'd
और
probably do
To
आरोप
it.
bring
भी यही होगा कि
English-speaking
काजल
audiences.
आरोप ये है कि
Kajol
आप
will do it, guys.
बात करती हैं. काजल आप हिंदी में बात क्यों नहीं करती हैं? Imagine Sid के asking you this. So what would your
तुम
reply be?
टॉपिक तुम कॉमेडियंस हो, अपनी बेइज्जती कम पैसों में करते हो. अरे अरे ओके.
ज्यादा
सही
पैसे
बात है.
यार.
I agree with Saurabh. Yes.
I totally agree. Story of our
Thanks,
life.
Saurabh.
By the way, Big Boss, I don't know why I'm the resident Big Boss expert in this show, but Big Boss had this rule that you can only speak in Hindi. And then they got Jane Goodall, who was racist towards Shilpa Shetty in Big Brother. They got her on Big Boss. और वो बेचारी उसको 3 दिन हिंदी सीखने में लग गया. उसको हिंदी कौन सिखाता था पता है? इस्माइल दरबार, द म्यूजिक डायरेक्टर ऑफ हम दिल दे चुके सनम. He used to teach her Hindi. But then I think she purposely got out of the show or something because she left midway to the show. She wasn't even eliminated.
वो I think उसको कैंसर था ना.
I think her diagnosis came or something like that. Yeah.
It wasn't Jane Goodall. It was Jane someone else.
Jane Goody.
What is that? Goody.
Jane
हाँ,
Goody.
Jane Goodall used to work with chimpanzees.
Sorry. Well, same thing. Same thing. Jane Goody.
हाँ Jane Goody. She died now. अब तो नहीं रही वो बेचारी.
Yeah.
God bless her soul.
All right.
Okay, coming back to romances. Okay, now I heard from someone who goes to reality shows that if you do a romance on the show, you get paid extra. So,
Wow.
Karanveer Bora asked Anjali to pretend to be in love with him. Okay, the very married with
On the
kids
show.
on the show. He said
Okay. Like you heard, you can see him asking.
No,
her
she
this.
went and complained to
Okay.
the judge. Okay, so he said you pretend to be in love with me so that we'll both get a lot of TRPs. And she said fuck off. Okay. Now,
Seasoned
but
player.
the seasoned player. No. Basically, everyone seems to be in love with Munawar. Okay, so we've got Anjali supposedly in love with Munawar. We have got Saisha Shinde who has told Munawar that she has feelings for him.
Okay.
And people seem to think that there is some chemistry between him and Poonam Pandey as well.
Yeah. Poonam
I mean, I'm all for progressive relationships, but isn't Poonam Pandey too old for Munawar?
No, she's what?
नहीं 10 years. I think 10 साल.
Poonam Pandey is 22. No, she was 18 in the 2011 World Cup. So it's been 10 years to that. 11
So
years. So she's
Munawar
29. Actually, yeah. ठीक है. Not that old.
My God. And anyway, what an ageist statement to make about.
Isn't Poonam Pandey married?
No, she's divorced.
No.
I don't
Poonam
think
Pandey
so.
was married. I think she's broken up now. She's split because her husband was abusive, like another Rahul Mahajan.
I didn't want to go there.
We're not laughing at that. I just know that he came for a show and then he told the act, somebody was on stage, he was like, हम आ तो गए पर इतना भी funny नहीं था. And then he walked off. So,
Wait, Rahul Mahajan said this.
No, Poonam Pandey's husband.
Poonam Pandey said this. Oh, okay.
Her husband said.
Her husband said this. Is that after that show they're separated?
Okay, let's come back to romances on Lockup. Okay.
So yeah,
So are you?
नहीं
हाँ,
अगर मैं
go
कह रहा
ahead,
हूँ पूनम पांडे ले गया तो फिर यार मुझे अच्छा नहीं लगेगा. वो हर लड़की नहीं लेगा. Seriously. पूनम पांडे
मतलब उसको शो भी मिले और लड़की भी मिले, ये क्या, ये कौन सा जस्टिस
ऐसा थोड़ी होगा. डबल पैसे कमाए.
Pooja, why don't you weigh in on the romance section?
मतलब देखो Munawar, what a player.
But अगर तू house में
तीन
होती तो
क्या
whom would you consider for a romance? Like, had you been in the house, whom would you consider for romance? Pooja.
ऑप्शन भी नहीं है मुनावर ही.
Like,
So I
correct.
see where the others are coming from.
चंगू मंगू
शादीशुदा
देखने
बाबा बाबा.
Sorry, Changu Mangu what?
मैंने कहा चंगू मंगू देखने में तो क्यूट लगते हैं. You could probably go for either of them.
Arey, that Mangu to is crying all the time. He's only doing shairi.
Wait, which one is Mangu?
Whom are we calling Mangu?
that Splitsvilla dude is only doing shairi. When Munawar said I'm a comic, he said maybe comedian who. And then he started doing some very strange shairi. Okay, and he does it very seriously. He takes himself very seriously. So he cries at every opportunity. It's very strange. I'm not saying guys shouldn't cry, but it's just not a good. It's not nice.
Doing शायरी, crying,
वो
and
कितना बुरा शायर है. वो शायरी बोल के रोता भी है. ये देखो मैंने कितना गंदा लिखा.
नहीं शायरी करता है, कॉमेडियन बोलता है और रोता है. ये सब तो तीनों मुनव्वर की भी क्वालिटीज हैं. मतलब you can't tell whether it's Mangu or is it Munawwar.
Oh man, shots are being fired. Okay,
But
now
then
we coming
I
to
have a question.
Bol.
So I have a question on these romances. Now, whether or not it is scripted, whether or not they actually there is chemistry, all of that aside, if X number of people are put in that kind of a situation, कोई ना कोई permutation and combination में तो वो दिखेगा ही ना. Like you will always, there will be like you will vibe better with the person. It may or may not be romantic in nature.
Yeah. I mean, forget Lock Up, Big Boss. Have you ever been on an office picnic? Like they will some like guys will hit on girls for that afternoon also. So obviously, if you put them in a fucking under one roof for 10 weeks, of course they're gonna hit on women.
Yeah.
Now see, Sara Ali Khan got married on Big Boss, I think, to Ali Merchant.
After Big Boss, yeah.
I think they got. Did they get married?
They got married.
Then
they got divorced. Then he's married someone else and he's divorced someone else. And now he has a wild card into Lockup.
Oh. So divorced couple is living together.
Abbas, you know, you just sound like
this is
like
big couple.
Soap and Lockup together. Like it's like daily soap or Lockup को एक साथ मिला दो.
Okay, now let's talk about the tasks. Okay, because I have watched the tasks. So
this is basically Kajol being like, if I have seen the show, I'm gonna fucking make other people pay for this as well.
I've done so much research for this live that YouTube is only showing me clips of the show. I can't get away from it. Okay, so okay, now we are actually getting Munawar fans in here.
Whoa!
Yes.
Was best gaming mind. Oh yes, totally.
One of the tasks was Chucky pissing, okay, of making besan ka atta out of chana dal. Another task was them making mirchi ka powder out of mirchis and haldi ka powder out of haldi and dhania ka powder. I don't know, I'm finding it so cringe. Yeah. It's like such a takeoff on actual jail life.
Yes, I agree. There is nothing to add. I mean, then they should go whole hog, no? Like, yeah, go ahead, Pooja.
Kiran Bedi is known for bringing prison reform, right?
Yes.
Where she really, like, made lives for convicts and under trials better by engaging in educational programs and, skill building and all of that. Or yes, और ये शो में अभी तक चक्की पिसवा रहे यार.
Yeah, I know.
All of that was nothing.
The one task was actually quite dangerous. It was called Panchnama, okay, where both the teams are standing with a wall separating them, and there were actual like objects, iron rods, which they had to push at each other to get them to fall off the wall.
Okay? Oh, Teri.
Yeah, I was just amazed that no one got hurt.
Sankalp, thank God we were not the lab rats for this show.
Pooja, some plans of yours.
So good to see you. Hi, Pooja, ma'am.
Is it a ex-convict Pooja?
Okay, now we're down to the last 15
college
minutes. So,
project.
bol.
Sorry, college project application likhi thi for a woman who was found in possession of weed. Maybe it's her. So hi.
I like that.
Continue.
I like
Sorry.
that.
Okay,
Okay,
yeah.
wait. We have somebody who's been watching it. They tried quizzing. It was terrible. Chucky, please want us. I will go with this. I will go with this. It was terrible. Okay. Now, we're down to the last 15 minutes. So, anybody in the comments who wants to ask questions about the show, we're all here to answer it for you. The
Yes,
show can
yes,
be
yes.
watched on MX Player and All Balaji, which is free. And now I'm going to ask all my panelists to give me their last verdicts or whatever they feel about the show. I'm going to start with Sankalp.
Whatever I feel about the show, I think after Big Boss, it's a fresh change. Definitely, because
How is it fresh?
not fresh, but definitely a better take on Big Boss. I would say it's still a better take on Big Boss because Big Boss is obsolete. Like Big Boss, you can't watch ever. कभी नहीं देख सकते. वो इतना boring हो गया है. Because जितने unknown people इसमें थे लॉकअप में उससे ज्यादा unknown people आपको Big Boss में मिलेंगे. You know. So Lockup is still better. They have some faces, they have some face value because Big Boss has absolutely nothing, not even a face value. Apart from Salman, उस show में आप किसी को नहीं जानते. So I feel Lockup is still better than that. I mean, at least there are interesting characters. There is an interesting camaraderie between the contestants and the host of the show, like Kangana. There is some good exchange going on between them. Big Boss is absolutely a big bore. मैं पहले 2 सीजन मैंने देखे भी हुए हैं Big Boss के, and I used to like it at some point. कि अच्छा ठीक है, एक टाइम के बाद उसमें टाइम पास होने लगता है. The last season, I thought I'll just sort of rekindle my romance with Big Boss, and I absolutely hated it. It was intolerable. You can't watch it. So after
How is Big Boss different from this? Like, there's no fighting in Big Boss, or what are you finding so fresh? I'm finding the same thing. They're both competing for the control of the kitchen. They're both competing for a better bathroom.
same task. It's just that the face value is much better in Lockup. Much better in Lockup. The face
Okay.
value is better. Big Boss की face value कुछ भी नहीं है. Like you know nobody, you know absolutely no one in Big Boss. अब especially now the current plot which they are getting वो तो बहुत ही बुरा हो गया है.
Okay.
और उसमें कुछ ज़्यादा interesting नहीं निकल के आता है. So yeah, I found Lockup still better than Big Boss. And Big Boss के tasks are very violent. वो ऐसा होता है कि इसको मारो थप्पड़ and he उसको react हाँ ऐसा होता है. Like वैसे टास्क होते हैं कि अच्छा अब आपका टास्क ये है कि ये खड़ा रहेगा, ये आके आपको गालियां देंगी, थप्पड़ मारेंगे, आपको रिएक्ट नहीं करना है. तो यार आई मीन दिस इज लाइक अ सिटर ना, बैठे बैठे आपने सामने वाले को रिएक्ट करवा दिया. बिग बॉस का होल गेम ही यही है ना कि सामने वाले को लड़वाना है उनको आपस में. दे हैव टू क्रिएट दैट एंटरटेनमेंट वैल्यू थ्रू द टिप्स दे हैव इनसाइड. अब टिप के लिए आप टास्क ऐसा दो जिससे कि लोगों के बीच में बहसबाजी और लड़ाईबाजी. वो सीधा बोलते थे मार दे. अरे मारने के बाद तो लड़ाई होगी ना यार.
Okay. And
So,
yes,
yeah.
Sankalp being our reality show. You know. Okay, I come to Pooja. Pooja, give me your general views on the show.
Sure. So I have never even watched Big Boss. Okay. And this Lock review session. Okay.
Locked up.
So hello.
Yes. Yes, we can hear you.
हाँ.
अरे it's fine.
Yeah. So I was saying that I've never तो बिग बॉस नहीं पसंद आया मुझे, ना ही लॉकअप पसंद आएगा, मैं कितना भी कोशिश कर लूं. The reason is when you have lived in hostels, PGs, shared flats all your life, ये सब कुछ भी नहीं है. तुम जी चुके हो ये on a daily basis. तुमने बर्तन नहीं किया, तुमने झाड़ू तोड़ दिया, ये रोज चलता है. So then मैं क्यों देखूं टीवी पे वही चीज. And then if my name is Pooja, it's just a lifelong to that one girl who broke the broom. Like it's lifelong trauma for me. So then what is this behavior?
Pooja, what is this behavior?
Yeah.
So I mean, it's just not my vibe. People who gain entertainment from it, great. I don't know how they do that. Their idea of entertainment. Good for them. It's not my cup of tea, and yeah, not my
Okay,
That
vibe.
okay, okay. And
कलेश
what
नहीं
about
देखना मुझे, बस करना है कलेश.
okay? All
3.5 लाख
right.
रुपए में.
Okay, Abbas,
yeah, I understand that I'm not the target audience for this.
why you watched every episode of Big Boss that there is? So
No,
how are you not the target?
I watched the first 3 or 4 seasons of Big Boss. After that, even I left. Okay, so oh wow, Pooja also left. She's like, I'm out, bitches. Oh, she's back. Okay, but I will say this. Okay, like I mentioned in the beginning, it's very interesting that let's face it, the entire, like you mentioned, the aura of the show is very right wing. It's very pro government. It's very pro ruling the state. Okay, but yet I'm very interested in the post lockup careers of these people. Like I still feel that it's still giving validation to a Munawar from a Kangana. It's still putting the Swami who is vying for a Hindu Rashtra coexisting with a Munawar and a Sara Khan inside
And
under one roof. And I remember when Kangana asks Munawar कि आप क्या तीन चीजें ले जाना चाहेंगे, so he picks a skull cap and a janamaz to pray inside. So in a country where the right wing groups are turning up in grounds from refusing people to pray, what effect does it have of showing a celebrity saying I choose to pray inside the house, inside a jail or inside a lockup? So I don't know. It's very sensationalistic. It's very cringy. It's very cheesy. But it is doing something very interesting. And like you said, Geeta Fogart and Kangna Ranaut have asked for genocide, and still the show is like, yeah, but okay. It's like, okay, they're still celebs. So it's got that dystopian vibe also, where you can say anything controversial and it'll only add to your social status as a celebrity. So it's a lot. It's a very it's a good sort of example of what entertainment is in India in 2022.
It is. It's like those deals where you can make your black money white. It's like this show is just
Sort of,
giving you a lot of
yes.
validation.
spot on, spot
See,
on.
Yeah,
there
yeah.
was this episode I was watching. I think it's episode 19. I'm trying to
What?
remember.
What? You got to double digit? Oh my God, Kajol. Please
हम
take a
मुश्किल से
vacation
दो
after this.
हमको कैसे दो
Things have
episode
opened
किया.
up now.
Okay, no, listen. So I was
Yeah.
watching episode 19, and this team had one of the blocks had gotten control of the kitchen. Okay, so now they are cooking, and the other block has to beg them for food and all that. So Payal sent one of the girls to ask for 2 eggs to be made for her. So the cooking team, which was Poonam Pandey and someone else, said, "We are not going to." Poonam and Babita. They were like, "We don't make eggs. We are Brahmins." Okay. Now, then of course Payal got angry and all of that. And then this whole Brahmin thing went on. We don't touch eggs. We are Brahmins and all. And then Poonam's finally telling someone, "See, I eat eggs, but today I felt like being Brahmin, so I was Brahmin." I don't know what that means. It's I find it a very right wing atmosphere. It's a very casteist. I don't know. I'm just not. I didn't like it. I've had to live in that environment in my
Right.
head,
So,
and I'm
so
not
tell
like.
tell me, since you've seen so many episodes, what is their treatment of the trans character? Do they call it out? Do they misbehave with her? What is the whole
So I'll tell you
vibe?
what. um, she's a little upset. She's saying they're not treating me like an important member and all, which may or may not be
Huh,
true. That I'll leave.
huh.
But they
Yeah.
made her confess feelings for Munawar, which I felt was not really necessary. I do
Okay.
not believe that this. I personally don't believe it's a true romance. So they've tried
Okay.
to get this thing into it. Then
Hmm.
Munawar has. Then she said, "Munawar, you're not talking to me properly," and then he's like, "No, you got me wrong." But I don't know. It was not necessary. It was
Right.
not
See,
necessary.
at the end of the day, I think it again for me it just reiterates the fact that whoever it is, whether it's Kangna, Vivek Agnihotri, Anupam Kher, all of these, they are all opportunists at the end of the day, right? Right.
Yeah,
I mean,
totally.
for all the morals that Kangna wants to stand for, she is doing a reality show like which is a straight off rip off of Big Boss for money. So yeah, at the end of the day, everyone's an opportunist.
Speaking of money, so when I read how much each contestant was getting paid, when I spoke to someone who's in TV, they said that Big Boss would be at least triple this amount because
Easily,
OTT
yeah.
is
It's a color show.
Right.
yeah.
Sponsorships.
Right.
So, and she said if you're saying 3.5 lakhs, it must be near about two. Okay, it's not clear.
Hmm.
For that much, is it worth risking your credibility? Is what I was wondering. Because you,
But that's
if you're
the thing. These people don't have credibility.
well,
No, but
whatever.
seriously, see, if I somehow manage to be in the house for, let's say, one whole month, I've made a clean 8 lakh. Tax वैक्स काट के जो भी मेरे पास आता है, उस पैसे से at least some of my problems are getting solved instantly.
But Sankalp, you're not standing for Dalit rights, or you're not you're not standing for communism or something. Where getting into this house and dealing with the people there affects your credibility. I'm saying for people who are, would you
Yeah.
sell that
Like who?
cheap?
Give me an example in the contestants we have.
I'm just saying, even Munawar, okay, he's supposed to
Huh.
be standing against the government, against people like Kangana. He and Kangana have gotten to tiffs on Twitter. Then it doesn't look very believable if he's on the same show with her.
So
Yeah,
that's
even though
exactly what I. Go ahead,
even though I
Sankalp.
tweeted against Munawar on Twitter, but I read one of the tweets that probably you are not aware of his money situation. That's what the whole crux of the tweet was. You are not aware of his money situation. Probably he's getting good money and he needs that money right now, which somewhat made sense. I don't know if anybody wants to just.
And I actually don't think it diminishes his brand. If anything, I think it only strengthens it. Because his fans, as you can see in the comments right now, they are still very much like he's the only authentic person. Like you said, everybody wants to romance him. So if
Yeah,
anything, his brand is only getting elevated.
हाँ, उसका brand तो बढ़ रहा है, no doubt.
Brand is getting elevated, yes, but then after this, if he does a show which is anti-government, will it have the same credibility as it had earlier? If he's, let's say he wins it, let's say
No.
Kangana hands him a trophy.
Yeah,
Then
yeah.
But
No, it won't have, but then more people would want to do shows with him.
I actually feel credibility, all this talk of credibility and morals, it's all in our head only. The people outside, the audience is not thinking about all of that. Not at all. Seriously. कोई नहीं सोच रहा है ऐसा हम मुझको लगता है कि मतलब हम कुछ ज्यादा ही इस बात को तवज्जो देते हैं कि लोग क्या सोचेंगे. लोग कुछ नहीं सोच रहे हैं. They are busy with their lives. Give them another show with Munawar, they'll watch it, forget it, abuse Munawar on Twitter, and then get back to the show again. So, we can't take all these things on face value. They are just on Twitter, जितना हमें बड़ा लगता है उतना real life में है नहीं. That's what I feel.
Which is why I said, Kajol, it's very interesting to see the post-lockup career of some
Exactly.
of these people.
Exactly. Okay, let's just go for some comments. So Inder Ramchandani is like, Munawar is surely going to be Big Boss next year and earns handsome money.
हो सकता है.
But I think
Then-
everybody who is on this show, उनसे contract में mention किया होगा not to participate in a similar show for the next 2-3 years. I'm sure.
Well, then how
But
will
अगर
Karanveer Bora survive?
Exactly.
I don't know. That's a good
Munawar
question.
Big Boss में जाता है तो Munawar will be the next Karanveer Bora.
Yeah.
वो रियलिटी शोज में जा जाके आई थिंक उसके बाद वो
Habits?
अलग डांस शो में आएगा.
Possible, very possible. Or rapping show or something. Haven't seen Lock Up, but heard the only sane person there is Munawar. Inder is a
ऐसी
comedian.
बातें सेम
Is
सारे
it-
हैं, बहुत सारे हैं.
No,
वो,
no,
सब
wait,
जाने.
Kajol, he's ended with "Is it right?" and you're the only one who can answer because you've seen 19 episodes.
I don't know about sane, yeah, because the thing is they're paid to act up. That's it. If you go out there and try to be very sane, you're not going to win. So you
Yeah.
have to do tamasha.
You
People
to
have to
be
want
insane,
you to be here.
तमाशा करना पड़ेगा.
Also, we can't be completely objective about Munawar because we knew him before he came into this show. So yeah.
Wait, there was a comment about Nalin Yadav. I'm just trying to find it.
Yeah, I think Nalin. I think Anurag Verma spoke to Nalin on his podcast, and Nalin has spoken about Lockup. I don't know exactly what he said.
So Nalin was leading the meme fest against Munawar, but then I guess he has a point. He spent long. He was in jail for no fault of his. Okay,
Yeah,
he was
yeah,
just
yeah.
picked up, and we've kind of lost track of what Nalin has been through the entire scene.
Yeah.
He's been
So
through.
I
hell.
mean, Balaji should offer him the next reality show. Is what
Maybe
I'm
he'll go in as a wild card because their wild card's
Yes.
going. Oh yes, that'll be a.
Yes, that should be a thing. Then I'll watch. Then I'll watch.
Oh, yeah. Ekta Kapoor, we recommend Nalin Yadav and Kunal Zambra. who do you recommend as a wild card, guys?
नहीं यार कुणाल
Rahul
का
Mahajan.
Rahul Mahajan, yes.
Pooja?
So that women can beat him this for a change.
Pooja, do you
No,
recommend
no.
any wild
Can I
cards for me? Yes.
take a second shot?
किसी और को
The
नहीं
guy
पढ़ना
who-
चाहिए इसमें.
The guy who turned up with his gundas to shut down Munawar show, that
Oh fuck!
politician.
You know what? She's capable of doing that. She's seriously capable of doing that shit.
Who?
अरे that
यार
guy
जो
who
गुड्डा
Munawar-
जो हाँ मुनव्वर का इंदौर में जो पहुंच गया था ना वेन्यू पे कि
अच्छा,
बंद
अच्छा,
करो शो
oh,
उसको
okay.
घुसा दो.
You know what? Ekta Kapoor is totally capable of doing that.
अरे they are capable of it. It's just that वो logistically
Yeah.
workout कर रहा होगा. उन्होंने ये सोच भी लिया होगा. हम तो अब बोल रहे हैं,
हाँ,
उन्होंने
हाँ.
पहले सोच लिया होगा.
Okay, before we end, Tehseen Poonawala was evicted. Okay, and he came out with this very interesting secret which he used to save Saisha's in the game. Okay, he bartered Saisha's staying in the game with a secret of his, and the secret was that 20 years back, the biggest industrialist in India, who knows who, asked Tehseen Poonawala to sleep with his wife. And said that I will book your nightclub for 2 days, Saturday, Sunday, and you will sleep with my wife, and I will watch your doing it. And Tehseen said, I did it and I enjoyed it.
उसको कोई अच्छी फिल्म नहीं मिली देखने को. His taste in cinema is bad.
See, from the way he's described the incident, it seemed like all three parties were had given their consent for this. So I think
Yes.
I'm like, so then there is nothing like unruly here. So why not?
I know. It's just like when you say the biggest industry in India, then I think there's like one name that comes to mind, which you're not going to mention here. We're not going to.
And we are not taking any names. Yeah, हम तो
Yeah,
जानते
not
हैं.
taking any names.
हम तो
Also,
घर के
that I mean, in the last 20 years, yeah, that one name has been the one that has been all over the place.
Okay,
Abbas,
Abbas,
sir, you look
Thanks,
seem
thanks.
to be like a sports commentator. Please do some podcast for us. Your voice heart.
Your voice heart. Journey to
his voice is beautiful.
LBSNA.
But Abbas has some podcasts going on. Abbas, where can they find your podcasts?
So I don't have my own podcast yet, but you can find me on Cyrus Brocha's show every now and then, and you'll also find Kajol over there.
Yes,
And
I'll be on
yeah,
Cyrus's show on Monday.
on Monday.
Oh,
There you go.
Okay.
So yeah,
Kajol ma'am, please schedule your next live YouTube with some quiz and okay.
that's the quiz. And
Okay, Journey, I have done lives with quizzes. 2 people should come to watch. Now we're doing live with Lockup and 25 people are watching. So let me just leave it there. Okay. There's no market for quizzes.
Also, we can have suggestions like for our next review. What do you want us to review? Suggestions.
Yes. We are okay, 1 second. Oh yeah,
Ma'am,
someone
please
here.
कुछ political satire करो ना.
हाँ, करेंगे.
यार, Paul-
Tomorrow's my solo show at Lower Parel. Just buy a ticket and please come. I can't.
also मतलब political satire कर तो दे हम, फिर हमको सच्ची में लॉकअप में जाना पड़ेगा सरवाइव करने के लिए.
और वहाँ orange uniform नहीं मिलेगी.
Yes. Okay. Please restart Thirst Trap. I actually think we should, yeah.
Someone asked me in person a couple of days ago, you stopped doing thirst trap, why don't you do it anymore?
We can do it. It's just the logistics of getting the Zoom room started up again.
I know, yes.
Let's see if we can get someone to loan us a room. Okay. Story as promised. Okay.
Oh yeah.
हम भूल गए थे.
Thanks, Art.
Okay. I'm going to take names, okay? Because no one watches
Yeah.
it in any case, so fuck it. So years back, I was doing Jackie Shroff's website. Okay, and because he was a film star and stuff, our meetings used to not be in coffee shops and all. So one night he had called me up at 11 in the night and said, I'm your part of town. Come, let's go for coffee, and we're discussing it. So we go and we park outside Gallup's restaurant. That is in the racecourse, the Mahalakshmi racecourse. Outside
Okay.
Gallup's restaurant, it's like a field there. Okay, it's got like trees and it's dark and all of that. And he's like, I just have to meet someone here. And then 5 minutes later, another car draws up, and this guy gets out and gets into the passenger seat of our car, and it is Rahul Mahajan.
Whoa.
And I just barely knew that he was a politician and stuff, and he looked slightly gone.
Yeah.
It was a very weird. It was very nothing happened, but it was just sitting outside in a park somewhere, and then yeah, it was weird. Anyway, that was my story.
Tehsin Poonawala story was better, Kajol. Sorry to break your bubble, but
I mean, really, Abbas. Like, okay, guys, we're going to be doing another review. I think it might be Fame Game because we've all more or less watched it, and
Totally.
it's got lots to bitch about.
All for fame game. All for fame game.
Okay. So hopefully next week, when everyone's schedules come right, we will be doing Fame Game. And yeah, anything else you want us to review, just write into us. We will not be reviewing Lockup again because we just can't.
we should review the finale. I mean, utna to banta hai.
सही कह रहा है, सही कह रहा है. But for that, we'll have to watch some of the episodes to actually talk about how we went up.
Fuck it. I don't care. I'll directly watch it.
All right. Thank you, people. Thank you, people.
Thank you so much, Kajol. Thanks, Pooja. Thanks, Abbas. And
Thank you so
people
much,
for watching.
Kajol. Thanks, Abbas. Thanks,
Good night,
Sankalp.
everyone.
Bye bye.